Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. We're finally here back at Jay's garage today. So today we're doing a brake upgrade. Well, it's not really an upgrade, but we're putting on slotted rotors to help with the brake performance. And we're also going to sort out a common issue with the Pajeros, which is the clunking sound coming from the drive shaft. So we believe we have found a way to stop that clunking thanks to a good old mate, Terry. If you're watching, thanks mate. You gave me a handy tip. So today we're going to test out a new method to take this clunking sound away for good. So yeah, very excited to test it out and let you guys know if it works or not. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Right guys, so with the Pajero, unfortunately what happens over time is this nut right here comes loose. So we're going to replace it with a new nut in hopes that it fixes the problem of the clunking issue. We're also going to use a quality split pin just to make sure everything is nice and secure. Righto guys, we're going to start off with the back ones here. So as you can see, the new ones are already on. So essentially you just got to get the old nut off. So that's what this one looks like. Now the new nuts are actually a bit wider. So if you have a good look, it covers a bigger surface than the old nut. So that's definitely going to help. And then this one is just a Mitsubishi genuine pin that just gets knocked over by a bigger socket, and then you put the split pin in, and that supposedly fixes the clunking problem. So yeah, it will be interesting now to see if it actually goes away. What I mean by the clunking problem is I'll just show you this little clip here of what the common issue is with the Pajeros. Alrighty, and here's the rotors guys. So as you can see, we went with the slotted ones. It has the little dimples in there that helps with the stopping performance as well. And it's not all the way through, which is good. So that means like rocks and that sort of stuff won't get stuck in it. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the stopping performance after this has been fitted. And we've just combined it with the 4-drive Bendix pads as well, because they've been really good over the past years. With my shorty. But yeah, what do you reckon we're about painting them? Jason recommended maybe painting them over here and on the sides, just for longevity and it doesn't corrode over the years, but should be good. Alrighty, Jason, tell us about these brake pads, man.
Yeah, so with the brake pads, it's always really important that when you are taking them off, to keep any of the hardware that comes with them. So sometimes you'll have backing plates that'll just help fill in the gap so the pad doesn't rattle around. Some of them don't come included. These ones, Bendix 4-drive, do come included, which is really good. One of the other important things to do is not to touch the surface with any greasy hands. That surface helps with the bedding in process.
Yeah.
One of the other things to do is you get your old pad and the new pad, you just sit them on the top, and you just make sure that the profile lines up. Every now and then you will find cars that they may be very similar, but they may step slightly. As we can see, that's perfect and all good to go.
Perfect. Awesome. Let's break them on.
Some manufacturers will use Loctite on these bolts. Kind of the rule is use Loctite if it has it. If it doesn't, it's not required.
Right.
However, if you are going to be doing a lot of forward driving, and say you're out in the desert or on really, really rough corrugated roads, I just put a little bit on there just in case.
Oh, sweet.
But never on the slides.
Never on the slides, so these ones here.
Yeah, so don't ever put Loctite on those. That's the wheel hub and the bearings inside there. Now, one of the things we didn't look at on yours is, as you can see here on this backside, there's plenty of brake shoe left. But on this side, there is still life left on there, so you could like put it back on. However, may need to look at doing your shoes.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's one of those things you won't know really until you get them off. Sometimes it's hard to see it through the inspection hole.
Yeah, interesting.
As one side's favouring the other.
All right, so it has shoes and a rotor.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it's just like drum brakes that had the shoes on.
No, so some discs do. So it's more common on forward drives where you'll get a shoe inside the brake disc.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So it kind of works very similar to a drum.
Yeah.
So that works for your handbrake and also as an additional brake when you'll say load it up.
You're right.
And I'll actually use that. So
Yeah, sick.
yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I can replace it, eh?
Possibly.
Yeah, okay. Might as well oil
Yeah,
in
might as
there,
well
I
when
guess.
we're
Hey.
here. So
Yeah, sweet. Just to let you know as well, guys, this whole kit is on the website, but if you want to grab it locally, so this is the rear pad, so it's just a DB1200, and the front pads will be your 1482. So that's the front, and the rear was the Chevy ones. Just to show you guys as well, this is the old pad, so as you can see, like it hasn't started making a noise or anything, but it was running on thin ice, so there you go. That is almost done. So yeah, actually perfect time to upgrade them because this is what they should look like. So as you can see, plenty of thread. That is good to go. So yeah, keen to whack them in and see what it feels like. Right, so while we wait for the brake shoes, what are we doing here?
one of the important things to do when servicing your brakes, once you've depressed the caliper piston, what you want to do is you want to clean, so you just get a clean rag and you just want to wipe down any excess grease. A lot of it builds up, and as it gets hot, it gets sort of like a clay sort of texture. So we clean it off, and you can use caliper grease, which you can buy like at any of your local Retcos or Super Cheap, or alternatively you can use a red rubber grease, which also works. So generally I like to do that and put it straight in there, but we're waiting for a couple more parts.
Yep.
One of the other things I do as well, it's just an extra step, is where your brake calipers sit in the cradle. This builds up with a lot of dust. I have actually cleaned this one, so a lot of the time you just grab a small wire brush and you're just going to quickly clean that out. What it does is it just allows for a nice mating surface.
Nice.
And one of the other important things to do is to use a copper ease or anti-seize paste.
Yeah.
Now I just use Penrite copper ease, so you just want to get a little bit there. Be careful again not to touch the surface, and just where the contact points are, mainly on your brakes, you just want to apply a really small layer. And what that does is it just helps with your brake actually sliding in and out as it needs to. Like, you're not painting the Mona Lisa here like I am, so just, be careful not to get it on any of the actual brake surface.
Yeah.
And that'll help just with ease of sliding, and also applying them and putting them on there. So you can prepare those a bit earlier like I am. Again, just be careful not to get any of it on the braking surface.
Yeah. Sweet.
All right. Just make sure not to breathe this in because it's not really good for you. But so you're just going to run it through there a couple of times just to get rid of any of that excess off. So sometimes what happens is they just get really rusted on there, and there's usually some will have one, some will have two, and in order to get them off, you just get a screw that goes in there.
And it just separates it, does it?
Yeah, and what it does is it just uses force just to lift it off. Once it pushes against the brake. Oops, that's getting tight now.
It's probably a good idea as well, guys. If you fitted airbags, make sure to check all your wiring. Well, not your wiring, but the tubes, just so it doesn't get caught anywhere. And yeah, we'll be good.
Yeah, so what I'm doing here is just obviously with a lot of the brake dust build up, it sort of gets everywhere because you don't want to just get an air gun and blow it in there. It'll blow contaminants into the air.
Right.
Brake dust is actually one of the biggest leading contributors to airborne particles on the road.
Yeah, right.
So you're just going to clean it down with a bit of water first. Just sort of gets and loosens it all up. And then usually what I do is I just let it dry out for a bit and
Work some
use
brake.
some brake cleaner on there. Yeah, just give it a really good clean down. Look, you'll burn through a bit of it, but it also makes your surface a lot cleaner and easier to work with. You're not going to get completely dusty.
Is that where you can adjust your handbrake as well, or
Yeah,
is that somewhere else?
So where you adjust your handbrake
Yeah.
is here. So some are at the top and some are at the bottom.
Yeah.
And because this top is locked onto the locator here, as you adjust this in and out, you spin this. Some of them are reverse threads like this one.
Yeah. Right.
What it does is it is adjusting it this side. So usually when you want to adjust a handbrake, look, so many people do them differently, but what I was always told is you adjust it till basically the brake is, it just locks so you can't turn it easily by hand, and then you want to back this off basically a full rotation back. What that'll do is it'll give you a little bit of drag, a tiny bit, and that'll allow this surface to bed into the new brakes.
Nice. Yeah, right. No, that's cool.
Yeah, so when you remove them, you'll see on some of the backing plates there's raised areas. Now that'll be where the back of the brake shoe or liner sits, and you see it creates a sort of a groove in there, which sometimes can cause a bit of screeching. So what you do is at the same pace, you're not putting a lot on there, but you're just covering that area.
Right.
And that'll just help reduce friction and no chances of squealing brakes, etc.
Right guys, so just to prepare the rotors as well, so like I mentioned, we're just going to paint the inside of it. So what you're going to do is just use some caliper paint, so the black ones or whatever color really, as long as it's caliper paint so it can withstand the heat. And that you want to basically just do the edge and then just the middle bit, and there you go, that's the final result. So essentially what you do is first up just clean up the whole rotor with brake clean, wipe it down with a clean cloth, and then what you do is just grab the caliper paint, then do the black bits, and then obviously you'll spill some paint onto the surface. So before it dries, just run again with the brake cleaner just on the surface, and then just wipe it down with a clean cloth again, and then yeah, that's your final result. So yeah, that should just help with the rust resistance of these rotors and make it last a bit longer. So this is probably the hardest part.
Yes, this is definitely the hardest part. 100% the hardest part.
Yeah.
It's just, the first one is the most difficult. But once it's in, like this, getting your tool in there,
Push them down.
turning,
There you go.
done.
That's all done. That's the hardest part.
It is the hardest part.
Just
Kind of like that.
Very
Just like
good.
that.
Just like that, eh? A few minutes, John.
Just a 2-minute job. There you go. Still
Sweet.
locked in now, so.
Very good.
A little bit of Loctite. Now again, the sort of rule is if the manufacturer comes with Loctite on it, usually you can see because it'll look like red or blue with like sometimes green. The sort of powder look, plus it'll be quite difficult to get off. Always use Loctite. Manufacturers that generally don't do it. But again, if you're going to go forward driving, do a lot of off-road, because if you're going across corrugated roads that are just constantly bumpy, you just don't want anything coming loose.
Yeah, of course.
Bolts are designed not to come loose, but look, we've been in drift cars and different things and had bolts by the end of the day actually work themselves off, even though they're tight with Loctite. So.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
So with these, they've got like a bedding in paste on there. So again, it's important not to touch that. With these, they do go in on sort of an angle. So sort of have them in like this, push them down. And
Here she goes.
So these lock in like a locking pin.
Oh, gotcha.
And they slide out.
Oh, look at that. There you go. Awesome guys, so it's actually 2 weeks later because we want to test it all out, see how it's going, and also give some time for the brakes to bed in and see what the actual performance is like. So in terms of the nuts, as you guys can hear right now, it's away. Have a listen to this. So there you go guys, as you can see, it's completely gone, which is awesome because it's a very frustrating sound. It either happens when you select reverse gear or drive and it gives a clunk, or sometimes if you're in like a top gear, like in 5th gear, and you let on the accelerator and let off, it also clunks. So if that's the problem you're experiencing, it's that nut over there. So just a few things to make sure you do it right. So when you go to install the nuts, make sure to use a rattle gun. So don't use a torque setting to torque it up. Just use a rattle gun, make sure it's nice and tight, and then you use the washer over it. If it doesn't fit perfectly over it, make sure to use a socket and just bang it on so everything is nice and secure, and then just use a quality stainless steel pin as well. We're going to try and make a kit for you guys, so have a look on the website. If it's not on there already, we'll try and make a kit where it's the nut, the washers and the split pins. Otherwise it will just be the nuts and the washers for now because we still need to source the split pins. Other than that guys, in terms of the brakes, it's very good. So I wouldn't say it's like a brake upgrade, it's just a tiny bit better than factory. So if you're looking for an affordable replacement that's a bit better over factory, then this is a good option for you. So don't expect it for the price point to be as good as like a DBA brake upgrade or a Bendix upgrade, because the Rotors is the high Q and then only the pads is Bendix. So it's very affordable upgrade guys, but don't expect it to be the best upgrade you can get. So yes, that is awesome. The other thing as well, we also painted it, and as you can see, some spots where we missed, that's the corrosion that forms on the Rotors. So there you go. That's why Jason said we should paint it. So there you go guys, in terms of the installation, like as you guys can see, there's so many little things involved replacing your brakes and that sort of stuff. So that's why we didn't do it ourselves. We went to Jason, who's a qualified mechanic, and he did a proper job. He doesn't miss all the little details, which is awesome. So if you're looking at installing your brakes, highly recommend Jason. He's in North-Brisbane if you guys are looking for someone there. We also have fitters in South Brisbane, and just for you guys living in the Brisbane region. But yeah, otherwise make sure you go to a mechanic, and this is probably the last episode for the year as well. So if we don't see you again before Christmas, have a good Christmas guys, have a good New Year, and thank you so much for all your support throughout the year. We really appreciate it, and we're so keen to take you guys on our trip around Oz next year. So yeah, have a good one guys, and stay safe out there, and have a good one. See ya.